Do you mind if I ask you, can you tell me like about your operation? So
Yeah.
you're New Jersey based, do you have a warehouse, do you have a team? What does that look like?
Yeah, so basically, we actually just moved to a new location in Jersey City. We're actually in the building with about 4 or 5 other Amazon sellers, which is an interesting approach because I think it's very helpful because we'll be able to kind of collaborate with each other, work on certain, maybe if a distributor needs, 100 grand purchase order, we can kind of pull the funds together and deliver that 100K purchase order. So it's very helpful. And the space is huge. It's about 40,000 square feet. It's a huge building. It's a huge operation, and we all work well together. I have some benefits that maybe they work off of, and vice versa.
Let me ask you a question. The cynical person out there, or the cynical person in me, would be like, don't work with anyone, don't share any information, don't do that because all you're doing is cutting into your pie, you're making the market smaller. Why are you crazy, man? Why are you working with 4 or 5 other Amazon sellers? Stop giving your stuff away, you're stupid. What do you say?
Know what? There's a lot of ability for all us to grow. When we're able to approach a brand and say, hey, here's a 300K purchase order, it's going to make a huge difference. We're going to get the top discount rather than me just reaching out and getting a lower discount. There's more focus on kind of attacking these brands at a higher point where they're not going to say no. They're not going to turn down a $500,000 wire. So that's kind of what we've leveraged, and it's been great so far. Everyone gets their slice, and we're constantly reaching out to new brands.
Interesting. So, and a question for you, did you proactively go into that warehouse because there were 4 to 5 as like that's an advantage, or were you like, no, I love the warehouse and that was like a kind of an extra, should we say?
Yeah, what was funny is that I was in my old warehouse and I got a message on Instagram saying, hey, we have some space in our warehouse. Do you want to come in? And I said, yeah, let's do it. I need a little change of pace. As you probably know, this game gets a little lonely. A lot of time thinking about, oh, should I do this? Should I buy this? It's a lot easier to say, hey, go to the next office. What do you think about this item? You think I should pull the trigger on it? And that helps a lot. It gives a sense of coworkers. It gives a sense of community, which I love.
I agree. I remember when I first started the business, I was like, man, I just don't want to have to deal with anyone. I just want to literally like buy some stuff, ship it in. I'm going to be happy as anything. And you do that. And then after a couple of months, maybe like a year, you're like, I'm so lonely. Like I want to speak to people again. And hence like you kind of build up the social side. But I really agree with you. But also about having like that community around you. And I've really started to value it massively myself. Having a small mastermind of 5 to 6 people where they just keep challenging one another and see different perspectives. I find that so valuable.
And even things as simple as like, why are your prep tables over there? They should be here. Just things that will improve efficiency that I never even thought about is just great to have a room of experienced sellers that have been in the business longer than me and can really help myself get to the next level.
I think the saying is I listen to, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you could be paying massive costs for that lack of knowledge.
Exactly.
And you get someone to see it. So obviously you're in New Jersey, you're in this massive warehouse with 4 to 5 other Amazon sellers. Can I ask about your team? What does that look like?
Yeah.
What's the operation side?
Basically, I am doing all the buying for the team. There's a manager who runs the warehouse, and he's responsible for the 3 preppers that are prepping products that we send to Amazon. We try to put maybe 6-7 pallets a week to Amazon. And what's very helpful about having this group in the warehouse is that we're able to fill a full truckload about every week and get a very nice break on shipping. A full truckload that'll fit 26 pallets will cost us about $350 to go to the local fulfillment center. You divide that by 26 pallets and you are paying a very low cost per pallet, which again helps bring your ability to maybe drop your costs and be able to compete at that higher level.
Do you generally go for more higher volume, kind of lower value items? Would that be like more like FMCG, for example, fast moving consumer goods, food, groceries, etc.? Is that the space you go after?
Yeah, so we do a mix of both. We have some stuff that flies off the shelf and then stuff that usually that stuff is tighter margin. We are basically then focused on supplementing stuff with the 50K ranking, and we're not even afraid to hit 100,000 ranking. My big saying is if we can make $100 in a month off this item, let's buy it.
It's like I call it transaction cost. I'm like, it costs me something to buy something, like internally within the company. So if I'm making enough money from that one transaction, it's okay. But regardless of the like ROI or margin or whatever, if I'm not making enough physical cash per month, it's just not worth my time.
Exactly.
And again, we're trying to devalue or reduce down low value items and increase, or low value time things and increase the value for time. We all have 24 hours in a day.
And our average price that we sell, average price per unit is about $21. So we're focused on lower priced products, and we make our average profit per unit is about $3.50.
And I'm guessing, obviously, the volumes that you're doing, regardless, all the little edges you can get in the consolidated shipping, for example, that's it's all bottom line profitability, isn't it? And also as well, I'm guessing when you own the pallet, the full container, you're getting faster shipping because you're not having to wait for someone else's pallet to match up with yours.
It'll leave in the morning and get checked in by the afternoon. So it is. And those are just additional perks. Your goal is to get the products in and push it out as soon as possible. And having that ability and with freight just saves me a ton of money on a monthly basis. I used to pay maybe $65 a pallet, which was still pretty good. But when we're talking about $20 a pallet, it saves you a ton of money in the long run. Even if we're shipping 50 pallets a month, it's a huge savings.
You talked about it earlier at the very beginning. Where are you going to be in 1 year? What's the goal? What's the long-term goal? Why are you doing this? What do you look for?
My long-term goal is to, this year I'm really pushing to hit 5 million in revenue on like maybe a net 8%. That's realistic. My end goal, like everyone wants to do $1 million a month. That's really been my goal. And that's, once I hit that point, I feel like I can kind of step back, take a breath and do like, wow, all right, we did it. We made it. This has been the goal. We brought it from $500 to, having a company doing $10 million that's netting, close to $1 million a year. That's really been a goal of mine ever since I was a young kid.
And can I ask why? Why is that such a big goal? Like, what does that have a meaning to you? Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's a bloody impressive goal, and like, cool, like, absolutely fine. But like, is there something that enables you to do? And the reason why I ask is because I see it all over social media. We show the orange charts. It looks great. A lot of the time it's a vanity metric. It's not the bottom line. And we can see people doing big numbers with not making very much of the bottom line. And by the way, people try and grow those top line numbers, but it doesn't necessarily mean it should be the goal that they're going towards. You talked about your goal. Does it mean something to you, that number, that place? Or is it like that's my internal measure, that's what I want?
Yeah, I think I've always thought of myself as a business person, as a child, and building a successful business has been a lifelong dream of mine. I remember when I was, young, doing lemonade stands, pushing anything I could to kind of make that buck. My parents weren't extremely wealthy, so I was always trying to figure out ways I can make money and, ways I can buy that new sneaker that I wanted. That was, a little pricey. That, my parents were willing to have a budget of $50, but I wanted the $100 shoe. So, I was always in that kind of go-getter mode of really going after it, and whatever, it's hard to explain. When you're young and you're kind of driven and you want a successful business, it lays the foundation for everything.
It's interesting. No, I love it. Obviously, you're on social media. You're on Instagram, and if anyone wants to know, I'll put links down below. But I come back to the point about the beginning. Don't share your information. Don't talk to people. Why are you in the Amazon sellers, the warehouse of 4 to 5? Why are you on Instagram? Like, I know why I'm on it, and I know why I think people should be on it, but I'm sure a lot of people right now aren't on it, or probably look at people like you and go, I'm not interested in the Instagram side. I'm not interested in being social media side. Do you think being on social media is worth it as a seller, or do you think it's not worth it?
I love being on Instagram because I feel like it's kind of my community of people. I'm always telling my high school buddies, oh, you got to do this Amazon. You got to do this Amazon thing. And to be able to go onto Instagram and have a bunch of people into Amazon is my bread and butter. I love meeting up with new sellers. I'll sometimes say, hey, we're putting together a group of 10 guys. We're meeting in Hoboken for dinner. Who wants in? And just the conversations that come out of that are all like-minded people that are ready to focus, that have a goal in mind. And you don't see that a lot. There's a lot of people that are just kind of okay going through the 9 to 5, kind of going through the corporate ladder, which is great. I'm not against that, but there's some type of fire inside an Amazon seller there that is always wanting to see improvement. And that's in any aspect of your life, whether that's, your exercising or your health or your eating habits, anything. And you see that in the community, that these people are serious about making their life better, changing their life, whether it's for their family or sending their kids to college. There's definitely a fire inside with all Amazon sellers.
No, I love that. And I think, two things. You talked about lonely being a business owner and having community is great, but also as well, when the friends we made from school aren't necessarily going to be the same mindset that we are in regards to building businesses. And surrounding yourself with like-minded people just levels up your game to another level. And it pushes 100%. You, but also as well, it makes the journey fun. And I think that's really important. Like, business is a game, it's a spiritual game, and we should enjoy the journey because it has massive ups and downs. And doing it together is such a nicer place to be. And half the people don't understand the problems that you're going through.
And people thought I was crazy for doing this stuff. I was in the back of my college classroom just looking at keepographs and talking with distributors and completely ignoring whatever the professor was saying. I even remember getting like a D- in business and communications. I'm like, that's all I do all day. I do business and I communicate with distributors. So it kind of like threw me off of like, this is not my thing. Let me just hone in on what is. I love it. I love a lot of people, like, my parents, they want you. I was a finance major. So the expectation is, go work at Merrill Lynch or JP Morgan and be a banker and sit at a desk all day. Meanwhile, I love going to the warehouse, moving pallets around, helping the guys out, ordering, products, talking with distributors, going out to lunch with the reps. That's what I like to do. The whole banking thing never really interested me.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think we talked about this off air, is like, I just really value choice. I love the idea of warehouse. I love the idea of seeing stock and moving them around, but I know that I can't have a warehouse and travel. They just don't go together. So I know I've got to say no to that. But I love the idea of the fact that if I want to go to an office today, I have WeWork subscription, I can do that. But also on the inverse, if I want to, we said, like, if I want to go to Thailand for the weekend, I can go to Thailand for the weekend, or like the week or the month. It doesn't really matter. And I love that. I think the world is changing, and we have so much options about what we do. So it's up to us to take advantage of them. And the world is a very different place today than it was when our parents were alive. And so the expectations are different. Question for you. You talked about it earlier on. You said you do coaching. Why? Why do you coach people? Why do you waste your time helping others?
I know. I honestly like to see people at ground zero, because I remember ground zero. Having 10K months, I love to be able to kind of talk with them and say, this was our strategy we've learned over the 6 years of doing it. This is where we went wrong. This is what I would have done differently. So they can kind of expedite their journey and really get a head start on it. And then I love watching their progress. I'm in communication with everyone that I have, like a very few group of students, maybe 20. But I love getting text messages saying, oh, I was able to open this account. I just got a price list. Oh, I'm doing this much in revenue this month. I just love seeing the progress. And I'm not worried about people hopping on Amazon or getting on my listing. There's so much of the pie to be is available. We love coaching people, understanding them, finding out their why, and helping them, helping them escape that 9-to-5 job that they absolutely hate. Because I was there too. I used to do like cold calling. That was brutal. So, I've had the worst jobs. I've done caddying, which was fun. I enjoyed caddying, but after you're in the sun all summer carrying golf clubs, it gets a little exhausting. But done all that stuff, and I've realized being on my own, having my own business is so much more rewarding. It's something I love, and I like to kind of teach people how we did it and how they can do it as well.
So if anyone wants to get in contact, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, so Instagram, you can shoot me a DM, or, we have a link in our bio to even do, a lot of people, I just tell them, book the free 10-minute call. Let's just talk. I want to hear what's going on, this and that. And a lot of them won't convert to anything, but I love hearing people's stories of how they started and this and that, and how, maybe I can even help. I tell people, book a free 10-minute call. They usually go over 10 minutes, and I just go on a ramble of Amazon. And it's just good to hear people that are in the space. Like I said before, like, there's not a lot of people, none of my high school friends do Amazon. It's all people through Instagram that do Amazon. And I've kind of liked to have that community, and I like to be able to, oh, thank you so much for that advice. People get value out of that 10-minute call where they're doing things differently. Yeah, I love the community. It's just something so different, and to be able to help people is even better.
Alex, what I will say is thank you so much for your time. And what I will say, if anyone's interested, do look at the links down below. I'll put them down below so obviously you can access that and obviously get in contact with yourself. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time. And hopefully in about a year's time, I can kind of get in contact with you again. Perhaps I can come out and visit you in the warehouse, see what it's like, and obviously see how the journey's been going. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Thomas. I appreciate it. This was awesome.